It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday, and thanks for tuning in yet again to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. A business variety show, something different each and every morning as I talk to different business owners, entrepreneurs, political and community leaders around the Tampa Bay region about what they are doing in our community to make a difference. So it's a show with a positive message, and so I invite you to tune in each and every weekday morning here on 1250 WHNZ at 8 a.m. Take a break from all the political news and sports talk that's on the airwaves, just a little bit too much with a show about what is going on in your community. Please take a moment to visit my website, tampabayradio.com. Over there, all shows are available on demand via the show info tab, and also you can see all of the guests that have been on the show via the guest network tab, and also peruse local real estate listings as I sell real estate for Coldwell Banker, and that is really my regular day job, and this is a new project of mine, new hobby I like to do each and every morning, talking to the different business owners. But after the show, I go and sell real estate, so on the site, tampabayradio.com, you can see all the local real estate listings, see all of my properties prior to hitting the market on the pre-list properties tab on the homepage, and also offer a free home valuation to all of my listeners out there. If they click on the Sell Your Home link on the homepage, we'll get you over a free home valuation, and we typically get those out within 24 to 48 business hours. I got a great show planned for you today. On the second part of the show, we talk with Cindy Hesterman, chair of Vistage program, a business and CEO training program. So stay tuned to hear about that and the programs they have available for you and to help grow your business. So an excellent resource, an excellent program. So we'll be talking with her on the second part of the show. But up first, Jason Woody serves as the president and CEO of the Lion's Eye Institute for Transplant and Research. He and his dedicated team have helped bring the gift of sight to over 65,000 men, women, and children around the world. Jason, welcome to the program this morning.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jamie.
So first of all, talk to us a little bit more about what the Lion's Eye Institute's mission is.
Well, really, we provide sight to those that are blind or visually impaired. Our program, really, people don't realize that the Lions Club, which many of us are familiar with over the years, it was actually decided from working with Helen Keller. As far as the program was started in 1917, really a group of businessmen, very similar to us in the room right now today, wanted to set out to do some charitable good. In 1925, they had their national convention. The guest speaker was Helen Keller, and it really motivated them at that time to focus on sight-related causes. And one of she actually challenged them to be the Knights of the Blind in the Crusade Against Darkness.
Yeah, share the story of Helen Keller with the audience again. I mean, that's a very inspirational lady who, was born without the ability to see or hear, speak, obviously, without those senses as well. And, people helped her to be able to become a great author and, to learn to see and hear and stuff through never even having experienced that as a child. But talk to us a little bit more about her story.
Well, as far as you mentioned, as a child being blind, deaf, and mute. As far as her story is probably one of the best stories that and really with a focal point of just really an unrecognized American hero. And imagine that in 1925 she goes into a conference there as far as in the same situation as far as and meets there are people there, Carnegie, Rockefeller. I mean, they were the who's who. Of
great
time.
businessmen of the early 20th century. Yes.
She made that plea to help other people like her, and she was so inspiring that all of a sudden became their focus. They have the Lions Club now has over 1 million members, recognized as the single largest service club in the world. They donate somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000 hours, as far as 40,000 full-time hours a year. As far as from that side, and as far as, again, all that inspired by one person. So I know sometimes people say, well, what difference can I make? Imagine her she was just asked as a guest speaker. And look at the life, how many people that we know, and over the years, since the time 1917, have been changed by efforts by the Lions Club.
So the Lions Club founded again in 1917, but in 1925, Helen Keller inspired them, to give the gift of sight to many people, and that's been the real mission of the institution since then, right? But has it evolved over time to include other areas of service to people in addition to just helping them with sight?
Well, that our program was started in 1973. So you imagine that 1925 was when the Lions became focused on sight-related, endeavors. Our program started here in 1973 is focused on corneal transplants. So many people ask, well, what happens when I'm an organ donor? I signed up to be an organ donor, an organ tissue donor on my driver's license. What happens? And we're actually the program that comes out to do the recovery. So, for instance, if you unfortunately you lose yourself or your loved one was to pass in one of the local hospitals, as far as we come out, do the recovery, and then we provide those corneas for people that are blind or visually impaired.
I remember as a kid, I was talking to you before the program, the Lions Club, when I played baseball. They were one of the Little League team sponsors, and I didn't really know what they had done until, I had met you, and then I started doing some research, and I found out, that they're involved with, helping people get the gift of sight. Talk to me about your involvement with the organization. How long have you been with them?
Well, as far as that, interesting enough, in November, I've been there at 25 years. So people ask me when I started when I was 6, not for the age reference. But that as far as that, I've been there at 25 years and seen that organization grow. When I started, there was just 4 or 5 employees. Now we have over 70. We cover 61 of the 67 counties of Florida. So we have a very large geographic footprint in Florida. We cover all the way down just almost the tip of Naples, all the way across the state, and then all the way north. So we have an office actually in Fort Myers. We have an office, the corporate office is here in Tampa, actually in Ybor City. And then as far as we have an office in Orlando, we have an office in Gainesville, and then Pensacola as well. Okay, so we cover all the way up.
Okay, so it's a nonprofit organization, correct? How does it raise its funding, and where is it getting its support from? Are there annual fundraisers, a lot of different events that go on? What are some of the things that we're hearing about or may not be aware of that the Lions Institute is behind?
Well, first of all, as far as the funding side is that we have patients obviously through regular insurance for billing for it's against the law to buy or sell human tissue. So all we can do is charge a processing fee for the cornea or the research tissue that we provide. So that's our main focus, is from there. And then we have 2 events. We have usually that as far as April, we have our Race for Sight. We have close to 1,000 runners. And then we have in October, coming up, just a matter of fact, not too long from now, October 24th, is our Eyeball. And it's ranked one of the best fundraisers.
The Eyeball.
The Eyeball.
Okay.
That's as far as, so you've heard of the ones like the Furball and different ones, like that. Our board decided to be somewhat creative with the Eyeball. And it's one of our largest fundraisers there as far as ranked probably in the top 6th or 7th fundraising events in Tampa each year in the magazines. And so that will be the one that we'll be having the main sale in October 24th. Okay.
Now, you've helped some 65,000 people throughout the years, get the gift of sight. So if somebody is visually impaired, what are the what is the criteria that they need to come to the Lions Institute with? Can they be just minor impairment? Does it have to be major impairment? How do they get assistance from the Lions Institute?
Well, first of all, you'll go to your regular ophthalmologist. So that's the first process to make the diagnosis. We don't actually see patients at our facilities. We are on the back end of the site side. So if they were going to get a cornea transplant, we do everything but the surgery. So we go to the recovery, we do the processing, we bring the tissue back, we evaluate it from a family that's donated their tissue, as far as to help their loved one's tissue. So the ophthalmologists themselves would make that diagnosis that you need a corneal transplant, and then they would contact us. We would set that up, and then you would go to local ambulatory surgery center or local hospital, and the cornea would arrive, and within 3 to 6 months, you would see definitely improved vision, almost regaining all your vision back.
Talk to me how the Lions Institute is involved in current research for the eye and the drugs that are on the market to benefit people that are visually impaired. How is the Lions Institute involved with the research end of the ophthalmology business?
We're probably one of the leading research organizations as far as ocular research in the country that has, and also that's combined with an eye bank. That's one of our focuses. It wasn't that long ago. To give you an idea, Jamie, there's about 46,000 cornea transplants done per year, so nationwide. So you think that's kind of a drop in the bucket. There's 40,000 people in our Tri-County area that have glaucoma. So our board really stepped up and said, we want to focus on the sight-related issues now, but we want to focus those on the future. We've heard about, many probably people that are listening to the show today. I guarantee someone that has glaucoma, macular degeneration, as far as, or even diabetes, that's affected their vision. So we've really launched a whole new facility there, almost 12,000 square feet. We have one of the leading ocular researchers in the country, came to work for us a couple of years ago from a large pharmaceutical company. So our efforts are now twofold. We want to help you now, as far as with sight, but we want to help you in the future.
Now, over enough time, if people live long enough, everybody will experience visual impairment. That's inevitable. And I think I talked to a doctor one time, and they said everybody will eventually develop cataracts if they live long enough. Why is this that everybody experiences, some type of, visual impairment throughout their life?
Well, that's the most interesting thing. You're right. It's the one thing guaranteed. We talk about cancer. We've talked about HIV, we've talked about multiple diseases, terrible diseases out there. Not, fortunately, not everyone will be impacted by those. guaranteed you will be visually impaired in your life if you live long enough. It's the only disease that can state that. Mainly is because there's multiple cells in your eye that don't regenerate, as far as especially like your cornea. The cells on the inside of your eye don't regenerate. So you're born with, say, X amount of many cells. Every single year you're alive, you lose those. So they keep dwindling down to the point that the cornea no longer functions. On the opposite side, obviously we're in a very, you don't see people in the state of Florida, as far as sunglasses, as far as cataracts are extremely prevalent here. From that side, you'll see them, and early on, you're seeing people now, I remember, maybe when your grandparents, older, in the mid 70s, 75, maybe 80 years old, say, oh, I need to get cataract surgery. You're hearing people now having it in their early 40s.
Wow.
So we're seeing that, and a lot of it is too. Some there's hereditary, some of it is dietary. And then, of course, it's just as far as exposure to the sun.
So exposure to the sun then is the main culprit for cataracts. So, and being in Florida then with the, obviously the sun, is out every single day. So that's a main cause of cataracts then. And so
Correct.
Sunglasses highly recommended, obviously, in Florida. What other types of maintenance can people do on there? What about like eye drops or anything like that? Is there anything out there on the market that's just over the counter that people should use on their eyes? You see so much about Visine, eye drops, things like that. Are those beneficial at all?
Really, as far as Visine, the eye drops on that aren't really needed. As far as just, basically cares this, sunglasses, huge amount, and diet. As far as especially for certain people, you have diabetes. Unfortunately, diabetes, diet controlled diabetes. Also, one of the first things that takes place is it affects the eye. You heard the first thing that really say, well, I had diabetes and I noticed a vision loss. Diet, keeping yourself just overall healthy. Yeah,
got to take a quick break, but I'm currently talking with Jason Woody, President and CEO of the Lions Eye Institute, and you can learn more about him and his organization at lionseyeinstitute.org. You're currently listening to That Business Show. Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Help promote the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy. Tune in weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WINS WHNZ to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where he promotes what is right with our community and highlights the successes of our entrepreneurs. Show contributor openings also available. You can learn more about the show and how to become part of this growing network at TampaBayRadio.com. Tune in weekdays at 8 a.m. to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Morning, westbound Dr. King at McDill. Crash there blocking the lane. It has traffic stacked up from before North Boulevard. Also, southbound Veterans Expressway still very slow from Hutchinson to Waters. There was a crash at Lois and Boy Scout blocking a lane over in Pinellas County. Westbound Court Street in downtown Clearwater. It is blocked at Hillcrest due to a serious crash. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Urick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by iHeartMedia.
At iHeartMedia, we've harnessed the power of sound in a way that can help you expand your reach to a new group of target customers and grow your business through customized and effective advertising. Call 844-BUY-RADIO or go to iHeartMedia.com.
Today, a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, high 91. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78. Tomorrow, a 40% rain chance, high 92.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Again, weekday mornings at 8 a.m. here on 1250 WHNZ, a business variety show, a little something different each and every morning as I talk to different business owners, entrepreneurs, political and community leaders about what they are doing to make a difference in and around the Tampa Bay region. And as always, learn more about the show over at tampabayradio.com. Currently talking with Jason Woody, President and CEO of the Lions Eye Institute. And you can learn more about him and his organization at lionseyeinstitute.org. Now, Jason, let's talk a little bit more about the Eye Ball, the gala that comes up each and every year. Let's elaborate on that a little bit more for the audience.
So this year, as far as October 24th is our Eye Ball. We have a fundraiser every year. It's our major fundraiser. We've got a wonderful evening planned. The event always sells out. So actually, we've been hosting that at Pepin Center, and it's obviously due to the size, we've had to move out to Main. We moved to Mainsail Inn as far as from that side. And this year, we're going to be recognizing a couple individuals, but one's going to be Steve Griggs. As far as the Chief Executive Officer of Tampa Bay Lightning. Mm-hmm. And so Steve's going to be recognized for their work, the Lightning's work in the community. You know, they've been just huge advocates, especially with, Mr. Vinnick and that team there. So we're going to be recognizing them. We're going to be hearing stories from donor families and recipients. It's a great night. We're also having, it's going to be a Mardi Gras themes, for those of you that like New Orleans and the fun, the beads, and the excitement of there, live jazz music as well. So it's going to be a great evening.
Now, let's talk about encouraging people to become donors. After they pass, they have to elect to be a donor, obviously. How do you get the word out to encourage people, to become eye donors? I guess if they check organ donor, is the eye just included with everything else? There's nothing special that they need to do, correct?
Well, Jamie, just like your show. It's just, that people are listening today. It's very, very easy to become an organ, eye, and tissue donor. One, you can do it when you get your driver's license. But now many of us are renewing our driver's licenses online, so you have that option. Now, even one easier, there's a website, www.donatelifeflorida.org.
What is that? Donate what?
Donatelifeflorida.org. And you go to the website, and you can put your name in 5 minutes, and you instantly go in the database, and you're right there. Then as far as you're in. And then all of a sudden, unfortunately, if you were to lose, obviously someone was to lose their life or their family member's life, we have access to that DMV database. So we can go in. So when we talk to the family, it's a much easier conversation when your loved one's already made that decision. And really all we're doing is following up on their wishes to help somebody else. Okay.
Now, you mentioned the Eye Bank as part of your organization, the Lions Eye Institute. Now, when people get an eye transplant, they're not getting an eye actually from a deceased person. They get, a cornea or something transplant. Tell me how this works for a visually impaired person.
Okay, so imagine that, correct, that where the science is not there yet, but it could be that they would be one day transplanting a whole eye. But right now, we'll transplant just the front of your eye, which is just the cornea. Imagine that we're transplanting the face of your watch. If your watch was scratched up, even though it's working in the back, you can't see the time because your face is scratched up. The same thing when we work on research, even though the face of your watch is nice and clean, something's wrong with the movement or the hands in the back of the watch. That would be more the research side. So right now we're transplanting just the face of your watch. So if you had distorted vision, obviously you needed a corneal transplant, then that's what we would be transplanting.
Now, how many people across the country are visually impaired? What are some statistics out there that can bring to light, the severity of this issue?
Well, worldwide, about 45 million people are blind. It's a huge number and growing very fast. 180 million people, as far as that, roughly have vision problems. One person goes blind every 5 seconds, and one child becomes blind every minute. And the numbers are as staggering. We look at numbers 2020, and people always laugh. Where did that 2020 come from? Well, that's statistically, as the World Health Organization is looking at that particular year. And at that time, 284 million people will be blind, and 80% of that can be cured or prevented.
Wow!
And to tell you this, the numbers are growing, and as our population grows, so imagine 284 million people.
Talk to me about the advancements that's been made in the the eye health industry since you've been involved in the organization. 25 years. I mean, 25 years ago, could you still do corneal transplants, or is this something new that you've seen in the 25 years in the organization?
Transplants have been transplants. The first one was actually done in 1905.
Okay, so that goes back a ways.
It was actually the first transplant before we've heard about organ, heart, tissue, because that's the first thing people focused on. If you lost your sight, people had no idea that you needed a heart transplant, but you knew that I can still work, I can still do what I want to do, even in the early 1900s. But I need my sight to do it.
Right.
And they actually tried to put a piece of glass in someone's eye. So you imagine it started with the idea. Even what's it today?
Put a piece of glass in somebody's eye. Think about
exactly cutting out a square piece of glass and putting it in someone's eye to cure obviously their vision loss. But it's not that far away from a contact lens. So they were right on even though the time. So you look at that. Really what's changed is the science side. We were able to, patients that get corneal transplants probably had, their vision came back anywhere from 3 to as much as 12 months later. We're doing a new type of procedure now that people are getting sight coming back 20/40, 20/60, a month afterwards. So, I mean, it's an amazing procedure, the science side from there. And, of course, we're looking at cell transplantation. As far as cellular levels, and you're hearing that all that with stem cells.
Yeah, because you had mentioned that cells do not regenerate in the eye. So does this have to do with stem cells and putting the stem cells into the eye and then they regenerate? Is that along that line of medical reasoning right there?
Well, what actually we would be doing is that for the transplant, we would actually be growing those human cells in our facility. So people that donated their tissue, we would take that tissue and we would grow cells from that and then transplant it to someone else. So we would not even be using a stem cell. We would be actually using the real cell, just grown from somebody else that was, a donor from their generosity.
So corneal transplants are fairly successful then, based on what you were just saying then, correct?
In the high 90s, probably 97, 98% successful.
Now, what if somebody who is born blind? I mean, can anybody benefit from, corneal transplants? I mean, but because I've read recently where people who were born blind and then they went through a surgery and then they could see again. Are there some people that cannot be helped versus others who could be that are born blind? Tell me a little bit about this.
There's a lot of people say, well, why wouldn't you be able to help? One of the most common is Stevie Wonder. That you have so many obviously blind musicians and very talented individuals. And the problem is that's in the back of the eye. And as far as most people, when you have retinal damage there, or you're born obviously with a retinal deficiency, that's not curable at the time. But we have already started to see that those are the same things we talked about earlier, is that they're cells. The cells are no longer there, or the cells are bad. So look, how can we do retinal transplantation? What can we do at the back of the eye, the retina, to regain sight? Many of the people that are born that way, it's in the back of the eye, not the front. So if you're born with a corneal deficiency or dystrophy, for that matter, we can fix that. If it's in the back of the eye, a lot of times those things from birth aren't be able to fix now or even treated.
Now, talk to me about the demand out there for cornea or eye donors out there to get involved and to donate, and what type of demand is there out there in this area of medicine?
There's extremely high demand for organ, eye, and tissue donation. People are dying every single day waiting for a.
Is your eye bank currently meeting the needs of the communities right now, or are you still?
We're still behind because of our growing population, especially for Florida. Our program we operate called Florida First, meaning tissue that's procured in Florida goes back to Florida recipients first. And as our population grows, people move. We have an older population, so we have we have our patients that now are living longer, enjoying a wonderful life, golfing, swimming, time with their families, with their grandkids. And all of a sudden, what would have potentially been our donor has now become our recipient.
Yeah.
So it's actually pulling from the pool rather than people, because they're living longer, putting it into it.
Yeah. Well, got to wrap up this segment, but a great discussion there, and I definitely learned a lot, and definitely commend you for what you've been doing across your career, 25 years with the Lions Eye Institute. Jason Woody, President and CEO of the organization. Jason, thank you very much.
Oh, Jamie, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Again, Jason Woody, President and CEO of the Lions Eye Institute. Learn more about him and his organization, lionseyeinstitute.org. Stay tuned. Coming back from the break, I'm going to be talking with Cindy Hesterman, chair of the Vistage Foundation, and you're currently listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Hi, welcome to Yeager's. We just want to take a minute and show you what we're all about. At Yeager's, our primary business is hardwood flooring, although we are remodelers for kitchen, bath, and general construction. We operate a fleet of shop-at-home vans that have all the flooring type products: hardwood flooring, laminate flooring, tiles, stone. what have you. So we're able to come out first with products in our vehicles and take a look at the setting, how the colors will work, and then to be able to come up with some options and ideas for you. If that's not good enough, we have a large distribution center that we inventory product and have a nice display area.
Robert Palmer, Saving Thousands Radio Network. Today, beginning at 1 p.m., Robert will show you how to be a financial ninja, teaching you the secret consumer tips the banks and credit cards don't want you to know. Listen today at 1 p.m. and be enlightened.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
Morning, westbound Dr. King at McDill. Crash there blocking a lane that has traffic stacked up from before North Boulevard. Also, southbound Veterans Expressway still very slow from Hutchinson to Waters. There was a crash at Lois and Boy Scout blocking a lane over in Pinellas County. Westbound Court Street in downtown Clearwater. It is blocked at Hillcrest due to a serious crash. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Utica Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Think It Up.
Hi, I'm Nick Jonas, and I'm here to tell you about Think It Up, a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at thinkitup.org.
Winds, Weather Center forecast. Low 90s for the high today with a mix of sun and clouds. Another small chance at showers around 20-30%. Mainly going to see them in the afternoon if they do show up. And lows tonight, upper 70s, with a chance for an isolated evening shower. Impact Radio 1250 Winds, WHNZ.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Winds WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Again, weekday mornings, 8 a.m. here on 1250 WHNZ. And as always, learn more about the show over at TampaBayRadio.com. Also, please connect with me on all the different social media sites. You can find me all over the internet, Facebook.com/That Business Show. And also Twitter under Jamie_Maloney. Also, all shows are streamed here live in studio. So if you're in front of a computer in the office in the morning, not able to pick it up on the airwaves, you can head over to TampaBayRadio.com, click on Watch Live Stream on the homepage, and see the video here live in studio, and also available on demand over on my YouTube channel, and also via the show info tab at TampaBayRadio.com. And also all these shows are put up on iTunes as well as a podcast. If you're just tuning in, that last segment, we were talking with Jason Woody, who is the CEO of the Lion's Eye Institute, a great organization there. So learn more about them at lionseyeinstitute.org. But time to bring on my next guest for the show. Cindy Hesterman became a Vistage chair in 2002 so she could focus her career on helping executives become better leaders, make better decisions, and achieve better results. Vistage combines monthly peer group meetings, resource speakers, executive coaching, and access to a brain trust of over 19,000 members in 16 countries. Cindy, welcome to the program this morning.
Thanks, Jamie. It's great to be here.
So first off, talk to us a little bit more about what Vistage is. I misspoke there in the last segment. I said it was a foundation. It's not just Vistage, but tell the audience, what is Vistage?
Sure. We're an organization that's been around for over 50 years, actually almost 60. Dedicated to increasing the effectiveness and enhancing the lives of CEOs. So we focus on the whole person. and we help them focus on improving their business, improving their leadership skills, and improving their results.
Okay, so is it a organization for anybody to get involved in? Let's say I just want to learn how to be a leader, but tell me about who you cater to in the organization.
Right. Generally, we work with established businesses
Okay.
who've been in business for at least 3 years and have at least 5 employees. We do work with billion-dollar CEOs as well, people that are running very large companies, but more often in the Tampa Bay area, it's people between 5 million and 20 million or 50 million or 100 million in revenues. And so we work with the top leader, and we also have a group for the key executive in the organization. So the CFO, COO, VP of sales, and that type of thing. So we really focus on the top, knowing that if we can change the culture of the top, it'll trickle down through the organization and make life better for everyone.
Okay. Talked about the history of the organization, founded in 1957, correct? How did it get its start, and how has it evolved through the years?
Absolutely. It started in Wisconsin, of all places, when Bob Nurse was a CEO, and he was approached by some of his peers who said, hey, I go to trade organizations and I get more out of talking offline than I do from the speakers. Mm-hmm. So I'd love to do that more often, but there's just a once-a-year trade organization. What if we put together a group of CEOs here in Milwaukee who met once a month and helped one another? So they kind of started that back in 1957 and then brought in speakers. They wanted to learn new information that they didn't know about. So they started bringing in speakers on topics of interest to them. And the speakers spoke for half the day. So they learned a lot. It was very workshop driven. Mm-hmm. No competitors in the room. And then along the way, they approached Bob and said, hey, Bob, you're kind of the senior person in this group. I'd like to spend some time one-on-one with you so you can kind of coach me and help me grow as a leader. And so he started doing one-to-ones. And so that's really how the organization started. Then we expanded, and now we're global. But the concept's still the same. Put together a local group of CEOs and business owners who can help one another, share their experiences. So I like to say you don't have to make the same mistake that somebody else made. You can learn from that and avoid that.
Okay, so today it's grown to over 19,000 members in 16 countries. How did you get involved as a Vistage chair?
Interesting story. Vistage can change your life. So I was CFO of a company, and I was a member of Vistage. And I was brought in as CFO to take this company public. And interestingly, we identified a larger company to merge into and go public together, and they were in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And it didn't come up in discussion. I knew they wanted me to be their CFO, but they never mentioned moving to Boston. And so a month before the closing of the deal, they said, well, when are you moving? And I said, what do you mean moving? I was going to work from Tampa. We're keeping our office here. And they said, no, we want you to move. So I said, well, I'll have to get back to you on that. Talk to my husband. He's like, I don't want to go back up north. We moved down here to get away from that cold weather. So I happened to have my Vistage group meeting that week. It was called Tech back then, and brought it to my group and said, okay, here's the situation. Great opportunity. Really like the culture. Excited about the opportunity to take this company public, but I don't want to move to Boston. What should I do? And the way the process works when you bring something to your group is they ask questions, and they really understand what's going on. And then when they're done asking their questions, you have to be quiet and listen to their feedback. And then you say what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. So when it was time for feedback, two guys really were trying to go first. And so the chair, which is what I am now, but I had a chair back then, picked one of them to go first. And he said, Cindy, I think you should stop being a CFO and you should run groups like these. And all I was thinking was, oh my gosh, I communicated that so poorly. I'm a CFO. That's what I do. Mm-hmm. But the other guy said, that's what I was going to say. And then the rest of the group goes, yeah, great idea. She'd be good at that. And I'm thinking, that's not my question. I need to know, should I move or not? Mm-hmm. So when the chair went around the room to ask everyone else what they thought, one of the people said, I think you should commute 1 week a month to Boston. And that way you can let them pick the week. You could live here. And I thought, what a great idea. Mm-hmm. So the group really helped me in that crisis moment make that right decision. Well, fast forward 5 years later, I left that company, was with another company that I had taken private. It was a public company I took private, and I was ready for a change. And I thought, what should I do? What could I do? What's missing? And I realized helping people was missing from my life. And I thought maybe I could be a chair.
Yeah.
So the idea that was planted 5 years earlier by my group, something they saw in me that I never would have seen in myself, is why I became a chair. I've been doing it for 13 years.
So how does the program work when people enroll? Is this, you have monthly meetings?
Yes.
Are you a lifelong member once you get involved? But how does the program work once you get involved with it?
Right. We don't have lifelong memberships. We don't even have terms of memberships, although we have members that have been in it for 40 years. My longest term member is 22 years and counting. So when it really works, it works. But there's no commitment because people sell their business, they move on, things happen, things change. So we only want people who want to be there. We don't want to force them to be there. So it's a monthly commitment, really, full day meeting once a month. On average, worldwide, people stay for 7 years. And like I said, we have people that have stayed in for a very long time. So, they join, they get value, they continue to want to join, and they're continuing to grow themselves and their business.
What's it like coaching, CEOs? You got all these, dominant type A personalities. I'm assuming they're all like that. I mean, am I right in that sense? Is it, you say something and they want to argue back and say, oh, this isn't right, or I don't agree with this. Talk to me about how you overcome those objections and how you lead these CEOs in Vistage.
Right. Well, first understand that not everybody makes a good member. So it's a selection process. I select members for my group.
Okay.
And so if somebody really thinks they know everything, Vistage is not right for them.
Okay.
They aren't going to want to listen to someone else. So most of my members are pretty coachable. They often don't see themselves in the light that other people are seeing them, though. And so my role is to really bring that out in them and help them see how they're coming across to people. So it's really asking a lot of questions. So my role is to ask questions and not give advice. The group can give the advice. So I encourage them to bring their challenges and opportunities to the group and get, 15 other people giving their feedback. And then the member can still decide what they want to do. On average, though, once members join, their companies grow up to 3 times faster than average businesses because they're getting, real life feedback and advice.
So tell me some examples of how, Vistage, some specific businesses or that you've helped. Share me some stories with that.
Right. Well, I have lots of favorites, and these are all actual stories from my groups. There's lots of them, of course, from all of our members worldwide. But one of my favorites was the member who, in a one-to-one, just casually mentioned that a competitor had approached her about buying her business and that she didn't want to talk to them because she didn't want them to learn about her customers and her trade secrets and all of that.
Right.
And so I challenged her in the one-to-one, asking her what her exit strategy was. And she said, well, I want to work for 5 more years, and then I want to sell my business. So I kind of encouraged her to think of what number would you walk away from your business today? If somebody came up and handed you cash, what would you take and be happy to be done? So she gave it some thought and she came up with her number. And then I encouraged her to bring it to the group. So she brought it to the group and the group said, you can protect yourself when you're talking to this competitor so that you don't have to give out that information. What's it hurt to have a conversation as long as you've protected the things you want to protect? So they helped her decide, talk to an attorney and all that kind of stuff. So she did. And within 60 days, she sold her business for twice the number she had told me she wanted.
Wow.
So did she get a return on her investment of Vistage? Think so.
What are some of the overlying themes that you hear a lot of times in these meetings? What are some of the concerns, the primary concerns that you're hearing from business owners today, or the CEOs and the business owners? Is it, employee payroll? Is it healthcare? Is it taxation? Or is it all across the board?
It is all across the board, and we do talk about personal stuff as well. But a common theme is employees. And often what happens is because these companies are growing, after they join Vistage, they tend to grow. There's that one employee who's been with them from the start who's very loyal and just can't quite keep up with the new responsibilities. So there's this struggle of, wow, they've been with me since the beginning and I want to be loyal to them, but they're really holding us back. How do I handle that situation? And that's a common one that a lot of people face as their businesses grow. And you want to respect that person and take advantage of their strengths, but also, not let it hold the business back. So we have a lot of conversations about that. It's also about changing market conditions. Competition's getting tougher. We're now a global economy. So where you might have just local competitors in the past, now everybody could be a competitor. There's pricing strategies that we talk about, marketing strategies and all that. So it's really across the board. How do I, be more profitable? How do I save my margins? And how do I keep my people happy and create a culture where I can attract the best employees?
Now, how many people are in these meetings? What's a typical, group consist of in terms of numbers?
Right. Generally between 12 and 17 on average. The maximum is 17. And, of course, there are times when there's a national trade show or something that a member has to miss. So there's always a little bit of trouble getting everyone there. But, it's a good, diverse group and no competitors in the room. So we share everything. We share financials. We share strategy. We really open the kimono, which is how they get value. If someone's looking at your financials and they ask you questions about it and you realize you don't have a good answer, it might point out something that you could improve. And there's a lot of value in that.
And then you expose them to leaders or speakers from across the world and the different areas of business. And then one-on-one coaching. Do you do one-on-one coaching with them as well?
Absolutely. And as I mentioned, my role is really to ask questions and help frame it so we can bring it to the group and get the group's advice.
All right. Let me take a quick break, but I'm currently talking with Cindy Hesterman, chair of Vistage, and you can learn more about her and the organization, VistageFlorida.com. You're currently listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Have you considered a reverse mortgage as part of your retirement financial plan? For homeowners age 62 or older, a reverse mortgage from Access Reverse Mortgage is a safe, economical way to turn your home's equity into cash or monthly income. Access Reverse Mortgage is a family-owned company based right here in the Tampa Bay area for the past 10 years. They are A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau and Florida's leading reverse mortgage provider. Call 727-347-0305 or go to accessreverse.com to start your research today. NMLS number 4566. That's 727-347-0305.
Are you looking for a local real estate firm that knows the market and has your interests in mind? Then contact Jim McPeak at McPeak Real Estate Firm, a family-owned business whose agents have over 60-plus years of experience in the Tampa Bay market. Many of the agents are military veterans that know the VA process for buying a home and are proud to help our military members in any way they can. From residential to commercial real estate, McPeak Real Estate Firm is here to help. Contact Jim at 813-495-3875 and learn more at McPeakTeam.com.
Help promote the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy. Tune in weekdays at 8 a.m. on 1250 WINS WHNZ to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where he promotes what is right with our community and highlights the successes of our entrepreneurs. Show contributor openings also available. You can learn more about the show and how to become part of this growing network at TampaBayRadio.com. Tune in weekdays at 8 a.m. to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING.
Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
From the Bright House Networks Traffic Center.
As we take a look at the major roadways around Tampa Bay, only slowdowns are in downtown Tampa along westbound I-4 and southbound 275. Otherwise, we're in good shape now on I-75 and the Veterans Crosstown Expressway. No major delays to report there. Minor crash in St. Pete, 22nd Avenue North at I-275, and also one over along southbound 113th at 70th. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abraham Son in Utah, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line, 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Think It Up.
Hi, I'm Nick Jonas, and I'm here to tell you about Think It Up, a new initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join us at thinkitup.org.
A 40% rain chance, high 91. Partly cloudy tonight, low 78. Tomorrow, a 40% rain chance, high 92.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 WINS WHNZ. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
Welcome back, everybody, and you're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Again, weekday mornings, 8 a.m. here on 1250 WHNZ. A business variety show, a little something different each and every morning as I talk to different business owners, entrepreneurs, political, and community leaders about what they are doing to make a difference in and around the Tampa Bay region. Also, please take a moment to visit my website, TampaBayRadio.com. Over there, all shows available on demand, and also review all the past guests. And you can also check out all of my real estate listings in the area, real estate listings, as I am a real estate professional with Coldwell Banker and business about over 8 years now or so. So the show, the site is definitely a resource for the show as well as real estate. So again, please visit TampaBayRadio.com. I'm currently talking with Cindy Hesterman, chair of Vistage, and you can learn more about her at VistageFlorida.com. And Cindy, in that last segment, you were sharing with us, a story of just one story of how you've helped, a business professional, accelerate their business and grow their business. Share with us another way that Vistage has helped, a business.
Right. Well, we're about the whole person. And so when I first met a CEO probably 11 years ago, he said, I really don't have a life. I'm married and I have kids, but I never get to see them because I'm working all the time. And that's very common, with people growing their businesses. They throw themselves into it and they really, just are so passionate about it, and they lose track of what else is important to them. So he said, what's important to me is being able to spend more time with my family. And I don't really know how to do that. So when he joined the group, we made that a primary focus with him. And it was a lot of work, and it took a lot of time. I don't want to pretend that we waved the magic wand and fixed it. But he had to change some things that he was doing. He had to change some of his people in his organization. He had to move some people around into different seats within his organization because they were in the wrong seats and the wrong responsibilities. And he had to learn to let go, which is hard when you're working in your business so much. And I'm happy to say that over a period of time, he was able to take his first vacation, which was a long weekend. And it felt so wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it was so wonderful for him. And, of course, it felt so good. And so now we've had to almost reel him back from taking so many vacations and say, hey, are you going to work at all? Yeah. Because he's out so much. But what he's done is he's created a scalable business. He's really gotten his people to where they need to be. He has systems and processes in place, and the group and I and the coaching really helped him get there. He didn't know how to get there himself.
Right, so the problem was he just didn't have the right people in the right places. Is that a recurring theme that you see with a lot of CEOs and businesses, that they just don't have the right people in the right places?
It is, and what happens often is your best salesperson gets promoted to sales manager. And they may not know how to manage people. And they may be a great salesperson who now is taken off the street because they're trying to manage these other salespeople. And it just doesn't always work. Sometimes it does, and when it does, it's great. Mm-hmm. But that happens in other departments as well. So you take your best operations person and you promote them to manager. And again, sometimes you're not giving them the right tools or training to be effective in that role. So you're taking them out of something they're really good at and love, and putting them into something that they might be destined to fail. So really being aware of promoting within and having the right training and tools and mentoring and management training in place within the organization to make that effective, or bring in someone from the outside.
So it's important to realize, CEOs and leaders have the exact same problems that everybody else does, right? And so the story you just shared with us, the person just didn't have the right people in the right places. Let's talk about another problem. What's another recurring theme that you see within Vistage that business professionals, CEOs are making that you help them improve upon?
Right. One of the big things is culture. So it's a very competitive environment out there to get good employees, and it changed during the downturn. People wanted to have jobs, and people didn't have jobs, so it was very easy to get people. But now that the economy is improving, people are fighting over good people and trying to retain the good ones that they have. And so we talk a lot about how do we create the culture where people want to be here. And we recently had a speaker who talked about fundamental behaviors that you can look for in your organization that will attract the right people and then make them accountable to each other. And it will kind of self-select out the people that don't fit. So really implementing that from the top down, reinforcing those cultural behaviors that you're looking for, can really make an impact on getting and keeping the right people in the business.
How has the healthcare laws affected business owners? Right now Obamacare only kicks in with people that have 50 or more employees. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, but you obviously are dealing with people at that level, though, correct?
Yes.
How has the response been from the CEOs that you're dealing with in these groups? What has been their feedback on this?
Yeah, obviously it's had a big impact on business, and unfortunately, what it's done in a lot of cases is resulted in employees having to contribute more towards their health care. So in other words, where the employer may have covered 100% in the past, they can't afford to do that anymore because of all the rising costs and all the changes that have occurred. So now the employee's having to pay a percentage of that. And there has to be a fix to that because we can't continue to sustain rising costs to businesses. So it has impacted them significantly. I don't currently have anybody in the hospitality industry, but I know that people that are in that industry are going to more part-time workers because it exempts them from some of the requirements if they keep the total hours below a certain number. And that's not helping the worker either. I think the intent of the healthcare reform was to help the people,
right?
And what it's done is really not help them so much.
Yeah, I've seen a number of different workarounds that the person who wants to work the system can do, and so the Obamacare mandate has definitely impacted the business community in many ways in a negative way, but only time will tell, as I say, the true outcome of the law and what it's doing. But it's definitely a focal point of your group meetings.
So anytime regulation comes in, now there's some other things about what's considered salaried versus exempt versus non-exempt workers. That's maybe going into play. That's going to have a big impact on companies as well, whereas in the past you could say, okay, anybody who made more than, I don't remember the numbers, but $20,000 could be considered salary if they meet certain other requirements, and now it's $40,000. So again, a lot more people are hourly. It's going to change the culture of the organization. Maybe overtime was accepted before and now it's not. But, maybe that's not a good change on the organization itself.
So you're a chair with Vistage. How many chairs are there across the country? And it's just an international company as well too.
Right.
So how many chairs are there across the globe?
So internationally, we have about 2,000 chairs in 16 countries. Locally here in Tampa Bay, we have 7. So there's 7 of us here locally, and we have 45 in Florida. So we're pretty diverse group of chairs with lots of different backgrounds, which is great because sometimes it's the connection with the individual member, and if you don't have that connection, then meeting with another chair might be just the right thing.
Now, how often are the meetings come together? This is again it's a monthly meeting for
monthly
CEOs,
full days. Yep.
Monthly, and so how many different groups are going on at any given time? You said there are 7 in the area right now.
Well, there's 7 chairs. So, for example, I have 3 groups. So I have 3 full day monthly meetings a month. And so I have 2 CEO groups and 1 key executive group. Other chairs, a couple other chairs have 3 groups, and a lot of them just have 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, so there's a bunch of different things going on, and each group meets kind of on a recurring thing. My groups meet on the first or the second Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday of each month so that they can plan their schedules ahead of time because we want them to be able to be there. So it is a recurring thing, and they can set their calendars by it.
Now, how is there a demand for new chairs in the area right now, or is the organization growing? Is there good demand for that? And how do people that are interested in that position, how do they get to that?
Right. They can go to our Vistage Florida website and see what the criteria are for becoming a chair. That's out there on the website. So there's a lot of criteria. You have to have been a C-level executive within business for a period of time and have some other skill sets. That's what we're looking for in chairs. I'm involved in training new chairs and mentoring new chairs. So if you're interested in being a new chair, please let me know, and I'll be happy to talk to you. We conduct training 3 times a year, and I lead that training. So it's a great opportunity to develop these chairs so that they can be successful leaders of their groups as well. We're leaders of leaders.
Yeah. And real quick, how does Vistage differ from other CEO and business training programs out there?
Right. One of the main differences is that we're professionally facilitated. So a lot of the groups are self-facilitated, which can work well unless that person's a real dominating person. So we are trained to be professional facilitators. We also do the coaching, and a lot of the groups out there don't have coaching. So you can really have that one-on-one experience as well. And because we're international and have that large speakers bureau, we can tap into the best speakers in the world and bring in, the ones that train Olympic athletes and that type of thing. So.
All right. Well, a great interview and a great program. Obviously, 19,000 members across 16 countries, internationally brand here, Vistage. Cindy Hesterman, and a chair of the organization. Cindy, thank you very much for being in studio and talking to us about the organization.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Again, that was Cindy Hesterman, chair of Vistage, a CEO training program there. So you can learn more about her and this organization over at VistageFlorida.com and reach out to her at CHesterman@VistageFlorida.com for some more information. And again, VistageFlorida.com. And also thank you to Jason Woody, President and CEO of the Lion's Eye Institute, who was on the first half of this show. Learn more about him and his organization at lionseyeinstitute.org. And you can reach out to him at jwoody@lionseyeinstitute.org for some more information. Well, it's a Labor Day weekend, so I hope everybody enjoys a great 3-day weekend. I myself will be back in here on Tuesday. The Monday show will be a rebroadcast of the interview with Anthony Sullivan, legendary TV pitchman. Had him in here a couple weeks ago. Very entertaining, very fascinating interview. So if you're in the car or on a computer around 8 a.m. on Monday morning, tune that in. Otherwise, I'll see you back in here Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.